Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, happy time zone, everybody. This is The Road to Dusk. You can call me Road, Dusk, anything that you would call a friend. I am a dream usher focusing on sleep, dreams, and the imagination, who is currently dealing with some scuff with his computer, but we're getting things figured out as as we are switching over, getting things set up. Yellow, I am here with friendos. I am here with Selene. Yeah, I've got my stuff like 90% ready. No, that's fair. Here you go for that. Oh, did you get the shared chat set up? Sorry, I thought you were doing that while you were live. See, I thought I had everything ready. I just forgot a few things. I mean, I got it for you. We're good. We're good.
Reading a story for us here tonight, specifically Anne of Green Gables, while Road works on a lovely outfit update for my avatar. Road, did you drop that link that I requested? Here it is.
Yes,
Excellent.
I sent it to you in DMs.
Heck yeah. I was just about to check there, and yeah, no, there we go.
Xena, I just realized that, and I unmuted her, so we're good.
Oh, so they missed some of what I said. Well, that's a little disappointing.
At least it was only for a few minutes and not like a whole half hour.
You deprived your audience of several minutes of me talking. Road, my goodness, they must be distraught. But moreover, hello everybody. I hope you're doing well. Let's see here.
Now, before I get into any of the coloring when it comes to your design, do you want me to just... Well, first off, do you want me to just talk with chat while you're getting things set up? Or would you rather that I ask you, like, any of your thoughts and whatnot for the design as, like, a little preview spiel? Would you rather I save that for now or later?
Let's go ahead and do that while I'm setting up.
Okay.
And so once I actually go live for myself here, we'll have that out of the way and can just roll right on into the story.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what would you say are some of your favorite parts of the design, or just any part that you enjoyed, like, helping me work on for this?
I think you did a fantastic job at translating my general outfit into something that's a little more adventurous. I like the way that the breeches came out, or trousers, breeches. I'm not quite certain what to call those. The leg coverings. I think they came out very nicely. I think the overall silhouette, the combination of the pauldrons and the cape really gives it that nice layered effect. I also like the way that you worked that hair ornament into my general braids design. That was really nice.
Absolutely.
I also noticed you managed to get my brooch moved to a different position, treating it as more of a belt buckle this time with quite a few of those.
Well, mainly because considering with how we had the cape going and the chains, the chain for like having it together, there wasn't going to be an easy spot for me to be able to have the witch stone as the brooch like we like what we have for your normal Almom design. So I figured to still use the Witch Stone to lower it a little bit, but still incorporate it.
I mean, I've always considered it more of a teardrop than a witch stone, but good to know that that's where your head is in all of this.
I mean, I'm a pagan. My brain is going to gravitate towards a Witch Stone.
Hey, there is nothing wrong with that. And since I have studied for a year and a day under a witch, I do technically, by many definitions, qualify as a witch. So, like, you're not offending me. It's just a surprise, is the way I would say it. So, yeah, no worries there, though. No worries whatsoever. Down a bit. So that'll just split.
Also, Apple, how's it going?
Hello, Apple. Which Apple do we have?
Apple Discord. The one that does her fairy OC a lot.
Okay, gotcha. I don't think I've actually met Apple Discord before, but hello, welcome in.
I've hung out with Apple a lot, especially since she's been actually a pretty active audience member for Art Jam.
Oh, gotcha.
Your
well, that's
EP,
fun.
yeah, it's midnight. It's kind of late. Sorry, not sorry.
You know, fair. So that needs to go a little further.
Before I go immediately color, do the one.
The one thing. Oh yes.
The one piece.
That one thing. What?
The whole meme. The One Piece.
I don't know this meme, but that's okay. I don't have to know everything.
It's based on the One Piece anime.
Yeah, this falls well outside my discipline. But no, good to know. Good to know. Alright, there. Yeah. Last couple pieces on my end, and then we can get that shared chat going.
And
Okay, I think this is the right road to dusk.
Road to Dusk VT?
Yes.
Okay.
And there used to be an underscore in there, didn't there?
Yes.
Once upon a time? So yeah, that always throws me off a little bit.
Yeah,
Like, people keep changing their names in subtle ways, and I'm like, why have you done this? I used to know you.
It's namely because I think it's been in response to some of the algorithmic changes. Some people were saying like, oh, if you have a hyphen or certain special characters in your name, at some point it like that the algorithm was fucky and kind of fucked with your chances on being noticed in the algorithm and system. Whether that's changed or not, I kind of grew tired of the underscore of the no, it wasn't an underscore. It was a underscore or hyphen. Any special character, just don't really see a reason for it anymore.
Okay. Well, I as somebody who keeps an underscore in her name, I think I.
I mean, I get it. I get how they're useful and practical, especially when it comes to differentiating usernames that have the exact same kind of thing. Just use an extra character or use some lead speak, switch up some letters for numbers, and then you're good as gold. It allows for more customization when it comes to like usernames, but specifically what I'm talking about is engagement when it comes to a product, when it comes to streaming in VTubing. A lot of what I said, like I said, with the whole thing of like, oh, I thought I heard a thing of someone saying if you have special characters in your name, it fucks with the algorithm. And that...
Yeah, is there a different verb you could use there, by the way?
Sorry, I am so sorry. That is... I am so
I'm
much
not
more used
live
to
yet.
I'm so much more to just chilling,
No, I
screwing with the
understand.
algorithm. When
messing with, upsetting,
yeah.
Yeah, you have an extensive vocabulary, Road to Dusk. I would love to see it demonstrated.
My apologies. My demonstration would have to be on my side and probably on some other platforms that I will not disclose for simplicity.
Sure. More bringing it up before it matters.
Right.
Okay.
Regardless, thank you for the reminder with that, and as a reminder to my chat as well, I do have a TTS point redeem for my mascot as well as for my chat. As a reminder, these are accessibility tools first. Please be mindful of that, and especially with us working with Selene here, whose demographic leans more family friendly. If you are going to interact and respond to her, please keep your interactions... just generally try and keep your interactions age appropriate, please and thank you. And ideally, for today, keep cursing at a minimum.
Treat it like you're talking to somebody's mother, because you are.
Yeah, we're talking to someone's mother, not a different word.
Oh, bro, don't set me up to ask for additional details on some of those things. My goodness, how could you?
We're both adults. You can fill in the gaps on your own.
You say that, but I think you radically overestimate how much time I spend with a mind in the gutter.
And that's my point.
I'll take it as it is then. Oh dear. Alright, I think I am nearly finished. Oh, the music needs a...
Oh wait, I've never even started proper timers.
Oh. You have a timer going?
I
right,
can, because since
City.
I'm using Spirit City, yeah.
Aha. So you'll be tracking your hours properly for this. Good to know. Here's a good boy.
Oh, you wish.
I have very clear evidence that you're a good boy. I don't think I would need a wish to make that happen.
Sorry, I was adjusting how I'm sitting. I have a new desk chair, and it's one that it's a style that I've never used before. It's kind of interesting.
Okay.
It's one of these armless chairs, so it has a really big base and cushion. So it's a lot of fun for me to like just shuffle around in. Nope. Sorry, someone just did a sound alert redeem on my Y'all are dorks.
Oh. And what sound redeem was that?
The Electric Zoo, if you remember the SpongeBob episode where everyone was...
I don't watch SpongeBob.
Well then, that's where I lose you.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. It's a SpongeBob reference. It gives me more than enough to know that I don't really need the rest of it.
Valid. A lot of my sound alerts, well, 2 of them, I should say, are SpongeBob references.
Well, no accounting for taste.
That said, Selene, what have you been up to lately?
Check me out.
New with you?
I am a talking dog. And now, I am to be corrupted.
Sorry,
it's funny how some distance makes everything seem small.
Using my mascot
and the fears that once controlled me can't get to me at all. It's time to see what I can do.
They should have
to
fun.
test the limits
You're
and break
a fun
through.
Person.
No right, no wrong, no rules for me. I'm free.
But do let me know when it finishes.
Yeah. I see what you did there, mixing in a little bit of Let It Go there, Xena.
Xena sounds nice. Do they still make those?
Well, no, Let It Go as in, like, the... So, Xena had done the mascot TTS for my little mascot, Dearly. And my community has a little joke going on to where this mascot lives and breathes brain rot. Whether it is 90s, whether it is 2000s, 2010s, 2020, if it's brain rot, it is in this little child's mind. So Xena had combined... I can't tell what the first meme is, but they kind of merged one meme with some of the lyrics from Let It Go from Frozen.
Ah, okay. Yes, sorry, when you said Xena, I heard initially Zima, which, is a very different...
That is a very different... That is a very different
noun.
Like, even I'm surprised with that. How do you get an alveolar nasal from a... How do you get a labial nasal from an alveolar nasal?
Very easily, especially if you're not paying attention.
Touche.
Also, I am seeing only air server on, my video here.
Oh, for some reason, air server lately has been really weird to where it won't stay open.
Is that going to be affecting your stream as well?
Unfortunately, it already has been, because it's only showing me air server on my end.
Oh, merkly mer. The goal for Xena is to make Road laugh his tush off. What will you do with it once it's been laughed off? Like, do you have some sort of a collection of tushes that you have managed to get him to laugh off, and so you're just, like, going to throw one on the pile? Or what's your end game
goal?
here? Yeah. So many. I see. You like road butts, and you're not gonna lie about that? Wonderful.
Out of my head, I was about to go, I like road butts and I cannot lie.
Indeed. Well, you do mix quite a lot, so well, I'm sure it's fitting.
Alright.
Mostly. Let's see. I am still not seeing it come across on the...
Yeah, because I need to update it.
Cool.
I need to fix it on VOD Ninja as well.
Alrighty. Well, I think I might just dive right into being live.
Righto.
Which I'm sure does terrible things to some people, but we are already almost half an hour into stream here. So I think I better get up if I'm going to get up. Grab a brush, put on a little makeup. I am seeing it now.
Okay.
Yes, you're in good shape.
I am not going to touch anything else. Well, actually, I kind of need to keep this tab up. Red. Oh, Selene, are you able to let me see your screen? So that on my side, I can let my chat be able to read the story along with you.
I sent you a link to my book earlier. So just put that into a browser source and you should be good to go.
Thank you. My brain had completely blanked on that.
Yep, and if that is not currently working, please let me know so I can get it fixed. Alright. Pressing my own go live button. 3, 2, 1. And yeah. Get Starlight City going. Just kind of use that as our opening here.
Right up.
But yes, hello everyone who's already here. Welcome in. This is Selene Heidelman going live. Let's make sure that it actually is updating. And see if we can get shared chat going here.
Check your DM, love.
Oh my, oh my.
Oh, thank you for letting me know, Xena. I will do that as soon as I have time. Currently, I am trying to make sure that y'all can see the story. Sorry, you were going to say something, Selene?
Yes, I was going to ask if you had me on the list of people who is allowed to collaborate with you.
You should be.
Because I do not see the button. I'm gonna try refreshing the page here.
All right. Let me...
Perhaps that's all it needs, is a reminder that I am somebody special in Roadsnet.
Let me double check to see how I update that. Where do I go to list, like, who are my...
believe that's under your settings in your dashboard. Let me...
Well, yes. At the same time, there's so many options in the settings.
There are, and I am... Okay, yes, I am indeed live.
Okay.
So, yes, people getting a little bit of an insight behind us, the scenes here. Let's see, so is it...
Yeah, if you can find that for me while you're also doing the... Well, if you're trying to set up, like, the shared chat, that would be awesome as well.
I am indeed trying to get that taken care of here.
Please and thank you.
Yeah, you're most welcome, dearie. Let's see here. Stream settings, clip settings, permissions. People who can stream to your channel? Ah, okay.
Where is this?
Oh, I see. That's not at all what we're going for.
Love.
My chat box isn't showing. Thank you for letting me know. That should have been showing. I don't know why it's not. Fresh. Okay, there was just a an error. There we go. We're good. Thank you for letting me know, though.
That should send you an invite, so check your little notifications in your dashboard manager.
No, the only thing that I've gotten is a little thing in Discord saying, "This notice to let you know that we are updating the monetized streamer agreement."
That's not helpful at all. How dare it? How absolutely dare it? But...
Oh, wait, there we go. Why didn't it let me see that first, you son of a gun?
I'm afraid I couldn't tell you.
Alright, but I joined. Am I in or no?
Yes, it looks like you are there, and I am starting the shared chat, so we should all be able to see each other's things.
Perfect.
And
now, how do we set it to
I...
where we can share our audience?
What in the 9 hex is Count Quackula?
Count Quackula?
Yes, well, I'm seeing this in your stream. Selene Heidelman caught an epic 2-star Count Quackula weighing 2.10 kilos,
that was
worth 189 gold, and now has 257 gold.
That was in my my lurk game, which apparently... Oh, it's just not showing.
I see.
Why does it not want to show?
I couldn't tell you, I'm afraid.
Let's see.
But
yes,
oh,
no, there it is.
It's
just at a completely different side than my brain remembered.
Confusingly enough, though... Ah, there we are. Road to Dusk VT caught a common 2-star black-spotted grunt, weighing 5.3 kilos, worth 21 gold, and now has 4331 gold. Ah, 6 off of, or no, wait. How was I thinking that was some sort of, elite number? Oh, because that'd be 1337, not 4331. So 3,000 off of being backwards late. Okay, yes. So, with that said, we are going to hop into the book here. And as I have not quite told my community, Rode will be following along with us in his chat while he works on my new outfit. I have commissioned him to design something a bit more adventurous that I can use for nights when I am not simply sitting here and reading stories. It is very hard to ride a horse in a dress unless you're riding side saddle, and if you're riding side saddle into battle, I will have questions for you about your choices. I partially just, how does that go? Did it work well? But it's not my preference. So, with that said, let's go ahead and switch the music over to what we normally use for stories. And we'll begin with chapter 16. Diana is invited to tea with tragic results. October was a beautiful month at Green Gables, when the birches in the hollow turned as golden as sunshine, and the maples behind the orchard were royal crimson, and the wild cherry trees along the lane put on the loveliest shades of dark red and bronzy green, while the fields sunned themselves in the aftermaths. Anne reveled in the world of color about her. "Oh, Maria," she exclaimed one Saturday morning, coming dancing in with her arms full of gorgeous boughs. "I'm so glad I live in a world where there are Octobers. It would be terrible if we just skipped from September to November, wouldn't it? Oh, look at these maple branches. Don't they give you a thrill? Several thrills? I'm going to decorate my room with them." "Messy things," said Maria, whose aesthetic sense was not noticeably developed. "You clutter up your room entirely too much with out-of-doors stuff, Anne. Bedrooms were made to sleep in. My goodness, Rode, you are just, Xena has just been fishing up a storm here."
Oh yeah, Xena loves to fish. I have some casual offers with my community where, considering I tend to be pretty open to lurkers. Lurkers also like to interact every so often. So with a lurk bait fishing game, I have it to where chatters can either request a quick little sketch at either 10,000 gold, I believe it was in game, or they can request for a more detailed one at 20k. Basically, they can kind of go like a double it and pass it, or something similar to that effect.
I see.
And dream in too, Maria. And you know one can dream so much better in a room where there are pretty things. I'm going to put these boughs in the old blue jug and set them on my table.
Mind you don't drop leaves all over the stairs, then. I'm going to the meeting of the Aid Society at Carmody this afternoon, Anne, and I won't likely be home before dark. You'll have to get Matthew and Jerry their supper, so mind you don't forget to put the tea to draw until you sit down at table as you did last time. Hello, Babbles. Welcome in. Love the new model, cutie. Aw, thank you very much. I'm very excited. Rode has done a wonderful job so far, and I'm quite looking forward to this finishing.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be fun to finish up, and I cannot wait to see if there's gonna be a point to where another artist could, I don't know, do this for a live 2D model or a 3D model.
Well, we'll have to see what all happens.
It was dreadful of me to forget, said Anne apologetically. But that was the afternoon I was trying to think of a name for Violet Vale, and it crowded other things out. Matthew was so good, he never scolded a bit. He put the tea down himself and said we could wait a while as well as not. And I told him a lovely fairy story while we were waiting, so he didn't find the time long at all. It was a beautiful fairy story, Maria. I forgot the end of it, so I made up an end for it myself, and Matthew said he couldn't tell where the join came in.
Matthew would think it all right, Anne, if you took a notion to get up and have dinner in the middle of the night. But you keep your wits about you this time, and I don't really know if I'm doing right. It may make you more addlepated than ever, but you can ask Diana to come over and spend the afternoon with you and have tea here.
Oh, Maria! Anne clapped her hands. How perfectly lovely. You are able to imagine things after all, or else you'd never have understood how I've longed for that very thing. It will seem so nice and grown-up-ish. No fear of my forgetting to put the tea to draw when I have company. Oh, Maria, can I use the rosebud spray tea set?
No, indeed, rosebud tea set. Well, what next? You know I never use that except for the minister or the aides. You'll put down the old brown tea set, but you can open the yellow crock of cherry preserves. It's time it was being used anyhow. I believe it's beginning to work. And you can cut some fruitcake and have some of the cookies and snaps.
I can just imagine myself sitting down at the head of the table and pouring out the tea, said Anne, shutting her eyes ecstatically, and asking Diana if she takes sugar. I know.
I will say super quick, I do have myself deafened just so that I'm not hearing Selene, though I may want to switch this to just muting. Y'all are more than open to continue spamming, do what you want that's comfortable for y'all on like on stream while we're chatting and having fun. I will just say that again, like typical, just be respectful.
Past the Dryad's Bubble and up the spruce path to Orchard Slope to ask Diana about tea. As a result, just after Maria had driven off to Carmody, Diana came over, dressed in her second best dress and looking exactly as it is proper to look when asked out to tea. At other times, she was wont to run into the kitchen without knocking, but now she knocked primly at the front door, and when Anne, dressed in her second best, as primly opened it, and both little girls shook hands as gravely as if they had never met before. This unnatural solemnity lasted until after Diana had been taken to the east gable to lay off her hat, and then had sat for 10 minutes in the waiting room, pose in position.
How is your mother?
Inquired Anne politely, just as if she had not seen Mrs. Barry picking apples that morning in excellent health and spirits.
She is very well, thank you, I suppose. Mr. Cuthbert is hauling potatoes to the Lily Sands this afternoon, is he?
Said Diana, who had ridden down to Mr. Harmon Andrews that morning in Matthew's cart.
Yes, our potato crop is very good this year. I hope your father's potato crop is good too. It is fairly good, thank you. Have you picked many of your apples yet? Oh, ever so many, said Anne, forgetting to be dignified and jumping up quickly. Let's go out to the orchard and get some of the red sweetings, Diana. Maria says we can have all that are left on the tree. Maria's a very generous woman. She said we could have fruit cake and cherry preserves for tea, but it isn't good manners to tell your company what you are going to give them to eat, so I won't tell you that she said we could have to drink. Only it begins with an R and a C and is bright color. I love bright red drinks, don't you? They taste twice as good as any other color.
Begins with an R? Oh, I see where she's going with that.
The what orchard, are you inferring?
So she'd previously been told that she could drink red cordial, and I was trying to figure out what part of cordial the R would start with, but she's referring to the red, as well as the cordial as part of that. So
now, for me, I don't know. First off, how much do you mind like pausing and like chatting and talking about the story?
Oh, we're always welcome to pause and chat about things. I just haven't seen anything in chat other than Xena's very enthusiastic fishing.
Right.
So there wasn't necessarily anything to chime in on.
Right.
But yeah.
Now that gives now I have a question. Considering it's also been like literally 20 years since I last read Anne of Green Gables. Why not tell folks what is the drink that Anne wanted to have.
So red cordial is, I believe, a type of fruit punch, if I'm remembering correctly. So it's a bit of a sweet drink. I don't think it's alcoholic, but I would have to look that up. It is not something that I commonly have at tea time, so... but yeah, this is the, I believe either the late 1800s or early 1900s at this point.
Okay.
So some of the drinks and other things that they use are not in nearly as common use today. In fact, a couple of chapters ago, Anne was exceedingly excited about this ice cream that they had at a special fair, and how it was something she had never had before and might never have a chance to have again.
Almost as if at the time when this was written, these are very new inventions.
Or still fairly rare things.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
But yeah, so, but in terms of red cordial, I would have to look that up. I do not remember offhand the nature or flavor of it. So, yeah. No, but feel free to ask questions as often as you like. You're not a bother or a trouble in any way.
Hey, glad to know. I just don't want to, like, disturb the flow.
Oh, totally. I understand that. So, yeah, no, but you are fine. No worries there.
Thank you.
The orchard, with its great sweeping boughs that bent the ground with fruit, proved so delightful that the little girl spent most of the afternoon in it, sitting in a grassy corner where the frost had spared the green and the mellow autumn sunshine lingered warmly, eating apples and talking as hard as they could. Diana had much to tell Anne of what went on in school. She had to sit with Gertie Pye, and she hated it. Gertie squeaked her pencil all the time, and it just made her, Diana's, blood run cold. Ruby Gillis had charmed all her warts away, true's you live, and with magic pebble that old Mary Joe from the creek gave her. You had to rub the warts with the pebble and then throw it away over your left shoulder at the time of the new moon, and the warts would all go. Charlie Sloane's name was written up with M. White's on the porch wall, and M. White was awful mad about it. Sam Boulter had sassed Mr. Phillips in class, and Mr. Phillips whipped him, and Sam's father came down to the school and dared Mr. Phillips to lay a hand on one of his children again. And Mattie Andrews had a new red hood and a blue crossover with tassels on it, and the airs she put on about it were perfectly sickening. And Lizzie Wright didn't speak to Mamie Wilson because Mamie Wilson's grown-up sister had cut out Lizzie Wright's grown-up sister with her bow, and everyone missed Anne so and wished she'd come to school again, and Gilbert Blythe, but Anne didn't want to hear about Gilbert Blythe. She jumped up hurriedly and said, suppose they go in and have some raspberry cordial. For the people who have not been following, Gilbert Blythe is a boy about Anne's age who is very sweet on her, and as a result has been acting out in order to get attention. And to his unfortunate surprise, he has instead made Anne so miserable at school that she has refused to return. So, in the meanwhile, her guardian Maria has been teaching her in the home. Anne looked on the second shelf of the room pantry, but there was no bottle of raspberry cordial there. Search revealed it away at the top of the shelf, at the back on the top of the shelf. Anne put it on a tray and set it on the table with a tumbler.
Now please help yourself, Diana, she said politely. I don't believe I'll have any just now. I don't feel as if I wanted any after all those apples.
Diana poured herself out a tumbleful and looked at its bright red hue admiringly, and then sipped it daintily.
That's awful nice raspberry cordial, Anne, she said. I didn't know raspberry cordial was so nice. I'm real glad you like it. Take as much as you want. I'm going to run out and stir the fire up. There's so many responsibilities on a person's mind when they're keeping house, isn't there?
When Anne came back in from the kitchen, Diana was drinking her second glassful of cordial, and being entreated thereto by Anne, she offered no particular objection to drinking of a third. The tumblerfuls were generous ones, and the raspberry cordial was certainly very nice.
The nicest I ever drank, said Diana. It's ever so much nicer than Mrs. Linda's. Although she brags of hers so much, it doesn't taste a bit like hers. I should think Maria's raspberry cordial would probably be much nicer than Mrs. Linda's, said Anne loyally. Maria's a famous cook. She is trying to teach me to cook, but I assure you, Diana, it is uphill work. There is so little scope for imagination in cookery. You just have to go by the rules. Last time I made a cake, I forgot to put the flour in. I was thinking the loveliest story about you and me, Diana. I thought you were desperately ill with smallpox and everybody deserted you, but I went boldly to your bedside and nursed you back to life. And then I took the smallpox and died, and I was buried under those poplar trees in the graveyard you planted a rose bush by my grave and watered it with your tears, and you never forgot the friend of your youth who sacrificed her life for you. Oh, it was such a pathetic tale, Diana. The tears just rained down over my cheeks when I mixed the cake. But I forgot the flour. The dismal failure. Flour is so essential to cakes, you know. Maria was very cross, and I don't wonder. I'm a great trial to her. She was terribly mortified about the pudding sauce last week. We had a plum pudding for dinner on Tuesday, and there was half of the pudding and a pitcher full of sauce left over. Maria said there was enough for another dinner and told me to set it on the pantry shelf and cover it. I meant to cover it just as much as could be, Diana, but when I carried it in, I was imagining I was a nun. Of course, I'm a Protestant, but I imagined I was a Catholic, taking the veil to bury a token heart in a cloistered seclusion, and I forgot all about the covering the pudding sauce. I thought of it the next morning and ran to the pantry, Diana. Fancy, if you can, my extreme horror at finding a mouse drowned in that pudding sauce. I lifted the mouse out with a spoon and threw it out in the yard, and then I washed the spoon in 3 waters. Maria was out milking, and I fully intended to ask her when she came in if I'd give the sauce to the pigs. But when she did come in, I was imagining that I was a frost fairy going through the woods, turning the trees red and yellow, whichever they wanted to be. So I never thought about the pudding sauce again, and Maria sent me out to pick apples. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Chester Ross from the Spencerville came in that morning. You know, they're very stylish people, especially Mrs. Chester Ross. When Maria called me in at dinner was all ready and everybody was at table. I tried to be as polite and dignified as I could be, for I wanted Mrs. Chester Ross to think I was ladylike little girl, even if I wasn't pretty. Everything went right until I saw Maria coming with the plum pudding in one hand and the pitcher of pudding sauce warmed up in the other. Diana, that was a terrible moment. I remembered everything and I just stood up in my place and shrieked out, Maria, you mustn't use that pudding sauce. There was a mouse drowned in it and I forgot to tell you. Oh, Diana, I shall never forget that awful moment if I live to be 100. Mrs. Chester Ross just looked at me and I thought I would sink through the floor with mortification. She's such a perfect housekeeper and fancy that she must have thought of us. Maria turned red as fire, but she never said a word then. She just carried that sauce and pudding out and brought in some strawberry preserves. She even offered me some, but I couldn't swallow a mouthful. It was like keeping coals of fire off my head. After Mrs. Chester Ross went away, Maria gave me a dreadful scolding. Why, Diana, what is the matter?
Diana had stood up very unsteadily. Then she had sat down again, putting her hands to her head.
I'm awfully sick,
she said in a little thickly.
I must go right home. Oh, you mustn't dream of going home without your tea, cried Anne in distress. I'll get it right off. I'll go and put the tea down this very minute.
I must go home, repeated Diana, stupidly but determinedly.
Let me get you a lunch anyhow, implored Anne. Let me get you a bit of fruit cake and some of the cherry preserves. Lie down on the sofa for a little while and you'll be better. Where do you feel bad?
I must go home, said Diana, and that was all she would say. In vain, Anne pleaded.
I never heard of company going home without tea, she mourned. Oh, Diana, do you suppose it's possible that you're really taking the smallpox? If you are, I'll go nurse you and you can depend on that. I'll never forsake you, but would you to stay till after tea. Where do you feel bad?
I am awful dizzy, said Diana, and indeed she walked very dizzily. Anne, with tears of disappointment in her eyes, got Diana's hat and went with her as far as the Barry Yard fence. Then she wept all the way back to Green Gables, where she sorrowfully put the remainder of the raspberry cordial back into the pantry, and got tea ready for Matthew and Jerry with all the zest gone out of the performance. The next day was Sunday, and as the rain poured down in torrents from dawn till dusk, Anne did not stir abroad from Green Gables. Monday afternoon, Maria sent her down to Mrs. Linda's on an errand. In a very short space of time, Anne came flying back up the lane with tears rolling down her cheeks. Into the kitchen she dashed and flung herself face downward on the sofa in agony. "Whatever has gone wrong now, Anne?" queried Maria in doubt and dismay. "I hope you haven't gone and been saucy to Mrs. Linda again." No answer from Anne, save more tears and stormier sobs. "Anne Shirley, when I ask you a question, I want to be answered. Sit right up this very minute and tell me what you are crying about." Anne sat up, tragedy personified.
"Mrs. Linda was up to see Mrs. Barry today, and Mrs. Barry was in an awful state," she wailed. "She says I set Diana drunk Saturday and sent her home in disgraceful condition, and she says I must be a thoroughly bad, wicked little girl, and she's never going to let Diana play with me again. Oh, Maria, I'm just overcome with woe."
Oh my goodness, I have a bot that, well, it seems it's just quietly dismissed it. Let's, make sure this person cannot do anything further. And problem solved. Let's see here. Alright, there we go.
Oh wait, I've not seen a bot.
Well, it dropped into mine, and the automod caught it. So,
Okay.
Yeah, we should be good to go there.
Okay.
I think. We'll
Just
find
because
out
I heard
soon.
you saying that, I was taking a look at my chat, and it's like, with us having shared chat, we should see if a bot, like, interferes in either of our chats.
And good to know. But no, the automod caught it on my end, and I've since banned the individual, so all
Good
is
to
well.
know.
Maria stared in blank amazement. "Set Diana drunk?" she said when she found her voice. "Anne, are you or Mrs. Barry crazy? What on earth did you give her?"
"And not a thing but raspberry cordial. I never thought raspberry cordial would set people drunk, Maria, not even if they drank 3 big tumblers full as Diana did. Oh, it sounds so like Mrs. Thomas's husband, but I didn't mean to set her drunk."
"Drunk fiddlesticks," said Maria, marching to the sitting room pantry. There on the shelf was a bottle which she had once recognized as one containing some of her 3-year-old homemade currant wine, for which she was celebrated in Avonlea, although certain of the stricter sort, Mrs. Barry among them, disapproved strongly of it. And at the same time, Maria recollected that she had put the bottle of raspberry cordial down in the cellar instead of in the pantry, as she had told Anne. She went back to the kitchen with the wine bottle in her hand. Her face was twitching in spite of itself. "Anne, you certainly have a genius for getting into trouble. You went and gave Diana currant wine instead of raspberry cordial. Didn't you know the difference yourself?"
"I never tasted it. I thought it was the cordial. I didn't mean so hospitable. Diana got awfully sick and had to go home. Mrs. Barry told Mrs. Linda she's simply dead drunk. She just laughed like silly when her mother asked her what was the matter and went to sleep and slept for hours. Her mother smelled her breath and knew she was drunk. She had a fearful headache all day yesterday. Mrs. Barry is so indignant she will never believe but what I did it on purpose."
"I should think she would better punish Diana for being so greedy as to drink 3 glassfuls of anything," said Maria shortly. "Why, 3 of those big glasses would have made her sick even if it had only been cordial. Well, this story will be a nice handle for those folks who are so down on me for making currant wine, although I haven't made any for 3 years, ever since I found out that the minister didn't approve. I just kept that bottle for sickness. There, child, don't cry. I can't see as you were to blame, although I'm sorry it happened so."
"I must cry. My heart is broken. The stars in their courses fight against me, Maria. Diana and I are parted forever. Oh, Maria, I little dreamed of this when I first Bleh. Oh, Maria, I little dreamed of this when first we swore our vows of friendship."
"Don't be foolish, Anne. Mrs. Barry will think better of it when she finds you're not really to blame. I suppose she thinks you've done it for a silly joke or something of that sort. You'd best go up this evening and tell her how it was."
My courage fails me at the thought of facing Diana's injured mother, sighed Anne. If only you'd go, Maria. You're so much more dignified than I am. Likely she'd listen to you quicker than to me.
"Well, I will," said Maria, reflecting that it would probably be the wiser course. "Don't cry anymore, Anne. It will be all right." Maria had changed her mind about its being all right by the time she got back from Orchard Slope. Anne was watching her coming and flew to the porch door to meet her.
Oh, Maria, I know by your face that it's no use. Mrs. Barry won't forgive me.
"Mrs. Barry, indeed," snapped Maria. "Of all the unreasonable women I ever saw, she's the worst. I told her it was all a mistake and that you weren't to blame, but she just simply didn't believe me. And she rubbed it well in about my currant wine and how I'd always said it couldn't have the least effect on anybody. I just told her plainly that currant wine wasn't meant to be drunk 3 tumblerfuls at a time, and that if a child I had to do was so greedy, I'd sober her up with a right good spanking." Maria whisked into the kitchen, grievously disturbed, leaving a very much distracted little soul in the porch behind her. Presently, Anne stepped out, bareheaded, into the chill autumn dusk. Very determinedly and steadily, she took her way down through the sere clover fields, over the log bridge and up through the spruce grove, lighted by a pale little moon hanging low over the western woods. Mrs. Barry, coming to the door in answer to a timid knock, found a white-lipped, eager-eyed suppliant on the doorstep. Her face hardened. Mrs. Barry was a woman of strong prejudices and dislikes, and her anger was of the cold, sullen sort, which is always hardest to overcome. To do her justice, she really believed Anne had made Diana drunk out of sheer malice prepense, and she was honestly anxious to preserve her little daughter from the contamination of further intimacy with such a child. "What do you want?" she said stiffly. Anne clasped her hands.
Oh, Mrs. Barry, please forgive me. I did not mean to intoxicate Diana. How could I? Just imagine if you were a poor little orphan girl that had adopted you and had just one bosom friend in all the world. Do you think you would intoxicate her on purpose? I thought it was only raspberry cordial. I was firmly convinced it was raspberry cordial. Please don't say that you won't let Diana play with me anymore. If you do, it will cover my life with a dark cloud of woe.
This speech, which would have softened good Mrs. Linda's heart in a twinkling, had no effect on Mrs. Barry, except to irritate her still more. She was suspicious of Anne's big words and dramatic gestures, and imagined that the child was making fun of her. So she said, coldly and cruelly, "I don't think you are a fit little girl for Diana to associate with. You'd better go home and behave yourself." Anne's lip quivered.
Won't you let me see Diana just once to say farewell?
"Diana has gone over to Carmody with her father," said Mrs. Barry, going in and shutting the door. Anne went back to Green Gables, calm with despair.
My last hope is gone. I went up and saw Mrs. Barry myself, and she treated me very insultingly. Maria, I do not think she is a well-bred woman. There is nothing more to do except pray, and I haven't much hope that that'll do much good, because, Maria, I do not believe that anyone, including a god, could do very much with an obstinate person as Mrs. Barry."
"Anne, you shouldn't say such blasphemous things," rebuked Maria, striving to overcome that unholy tendency to laughter which she was dismayed to find growing upon her. And indeed, when she told the whole story to Matthew that night, she did laugh heartily over Anne's tribulations. But when she slipped into the east gable before heading to bed and found that Anne had cried herself to sleep, an unaccustomed softness crept into her face. "Poor little soul," she murmured, lifting a loose curl from the girl's tear-stained face. Then she bent down and kissed the flushed cheek on the pillow.
Oh, that is a rare moment of sweetness from Maria, especially when it comes to Anne.
Oh dear.
Yeah,
Oh.
I have, like, coming from someone, like, again, I roughly remember reading Anne of Green Gables when I was in elementary. This is also at a point when I was homeschooled. With what I remember when it comes to the story of Anne of Green Gables, like, especially when it comes to the dynamic, we have to understand that it's kind of dated. I mean, prime example with them openly talking about corporal punishment as just an everyday means of punishment for a child.
Yeah, and I mean, there's always going to be elements of that.
Yeah.
But the characters so far have been so distant in many ways, and it's really nice to see. I find it
Yeah,
heartwarming.
no, I get it. It's very endearing. It's very endearing to see, like, the dynamics between everyone actually come together. Seeing the relationships between everyone, it's beautiful, especially for Anne, given how the story is. It's still, like, I actually don't remember a whole lot when it comes to the story with the boy. And with us hopping in the middle of the story, I am kind of out of the loop.
No worries. There honestly hasn't been too much there, other than he was pulling on her pigtails, calling her carrots, and it then made her slightly more upset after she got called out by the teacher out of everybody who was late for being late to class and made to stand up at the board, and the humiliation was enough that she wouldn't go back. So
I mean, that's valid.
oh, it's very valid. But it also was quite impressively difficult for her. So I am actually going to be right back. I need to go get some more water here. So,
yeah, absolutely.
I'll be back in just a few seconds.
While she is heading over to get herself some refreshments, hope everyone is doing well. For those that are watching on my end, I have been working on a very, very special for Selene for when she's in a bit more of an adventurous mode. Trying to fix a few things with this frame. Alright, here we go. Getting some progress. Hope everyone is enjoying the night. I know we are going pretty late, all things considered. This is probably a lot later than even what I tend to do. But we are taking a ride. As a reminder, I am doing some art. I do art for income and whatnot currently. Any funds to art is appreciated because I am waiting on. I'm waiting to hear on being able to start orientation and start shifts at my new job. And I haven't heard anything. I've heard that I'm supposed to start orientation, but I haven't heard any confirmation of being able to start this. That said, Klaus, how's it going? Thanks for hopping over. Currently, Selene is actually AFK, getting some refreshment. Currently, while we are waiting, I am working on a very special design. Fuck.
Thank you all so much for your patience with me as I took care of getting my drink here. Klaus
Welcome back.
Michelson, welcome in. You're looking to see what your paycheck is like on Friday. Is there something specific about that?
Because I mentioned that I'm still doing my donathon, and I'm still taking like funds and donations, given I haven't started my job yet.
Ah, gotcha. Well, that's very kind of you, Klaus. Thank you. So, we have just found Anne accidentally getting Diana drunk, and as a result, she is no longer allowed to play with Diana, per Diana's mother's request. And so, we resume. Chapter 17. A New Interest in Life. The next afternoon, Anne, bending over her patchwork at the kitchen window, happened to glance out and beheld Diana down by Dryad's bubble, beckoning mysteriously. In a trice, Anne was out of the house and flying down to the hollow, astonishment and hope surging in her expressive eyes. But the hope faded when she saw Diana's rejected countenance.
Your mother has relented?
She gasped. Diana shook her head mournfully.
No, and she says I'm never to play with you again. I've cried and told her it wasn't your fault, but it wasn't any use. I had ever such a time coaxing her to let me come down and say goodbye to you. She said I was only to stay 10 minutes, and she's timing me by the clock. 10 minutes isn't very long to say an eternal farewell in, said Anne tearfully. Oh, Diana, will you promise faithfully never to forget me, the friend of your youth, no matter what dearer friends may caress thee? Indeed I will, sobbed Diana, and I'll never have another bosom friend. I don't want to have loved anybody as I have loved you. Oh, Diana, do you love me? Cried Anne, clasping her hands. Why, of course I do. Didn't you know that? No. Anne drew a long breath. Thought you liked me, of course, but I never hoped you loved me. Why, Diana, I didn't think anybody could ever love me. Nobody has ever loved me since I can remember. Oh, this is wonderful. It's a ray of light that will forever shine in the darkness of the path severed from thee, Diana. Oh, just say it once again. At 6 a.m., you got 6 to 7 hours of sleep? Wonderful. I'm very glad to hear it. I love you devotedly, Anne, said Diana staunchly, and I will always will. You may be sure of that. And I will always love thee, Diana, said Anne, solemnly extending her hand. In the years to come, thy memory will shine like a star over my lonely life, as the last story we read together says. Anna, wilt thou give me a lock of thy jet-black tresses in parting to treasure forevermore? Have you got anything to cut it with? Queried Diana, wiping away the tears which Anne's affecting accents had caused to flow afresh and returning to practicalities. Oh, you meant you've got to be up in 6 hours. My goodness, Klaus, I do hope you get some rest somewhere in all of this. Yes, I've got my patchwork scissors in my apron pocket, fortunately, said Anne. She solemnly clipped one of Diana's curls. Fairly well, my beloved friend. Henceforth we must be as strangers, though living side by side, but my heart will be ever faithful to thee. Anne stood and watched Diana out of sight, mournfully waving her hand to the latter whenever she turned to look back. Then she returned to the house, not a little consoled, for the time being, by this romantic parting. It is all over, she informed Maria. I shall never again have another friend. I'm really worse off than ever before, for now I haven't Katie, Maurice, and Violetta now. And even if I hadn't, it wouldn't be the same. Somehow little dream girls are not satisfying after a real friend. Diana and I had such an affecting farewell down by the spring. It will be sacred in my memory forever. I used the most pathetic language I could think of and said thou and thee. Thou and thee seem so much more romantic than you. Diana gave me a lock of her hair, and I'm going to sew it up in a little bag and wear it around my neck all my life. Please see that it is buried with me, for I don't believe I'll live very long. Perhaps when she sees me lying cold dead before her, Mrs. Barry may feel remorse for what she has done and will let Diana come to my funeral. I don't think there is much fear of your dying of grief as long as you can talk, Anne,
said Maria unsympathetically. The following Monday, Anne surprised Maria by coming down from her room with a basket of books in her arm and her lips primmed up into a line of determination. "I'm going back to school," she announced. "That's all there is left in life for me, now that my friend has been ruthlessly torn from me. In school, I can look at her and muse over days departed." "You'd better muse over your lessons and sums," said Maria, concealing her delight at this development of the situation. "If you're going back to school, I hope we'll hear no more of breaking slates over people's head and such carryings on. Behave yourself and do just what your teacher tells you." "Caffrey, hello, welcome in, and thank you for the bunny-hearted hats. It's good to have you here with us." "I'll try to be a model pupil," agreed Anne dolefully. "There won't be much fun in it, I expect. Mr. Phillips said Minnie Andrews was a model pupil, and there isn't a spark of imagination or life in her. She's just dull and pokey and never seems to have a good time. But I feel so depressed that perhaps it will come easy to me now. I'm going round by the road. I couldn't bear to go by the birch path all alone. I should weep bitter tears if I did." Anne was welcomed back to school with open arms. Her imagination had been sorely missed in games, her voice in the singing, and her dramatic ability in the perusal aloud of books at dinner hour. Ruby Gillis smuggled 3 blue plums over to her during Testament reading. Ella Mae McPherson gave her an enormous yellow pansy cut from the covers of a floral catalog, a species of desk decoration much prized in Avonlea School. Sophia Sloane offered to teach her perfectly elegant new pattern of knit lace, so nice for trimming aprons. Katie Boulter gave her a perfume bottle to keep slate water in, and Julia Bell copied carefully on a piece of pale pink paper, scalloped on the edges, the following effusion. "To Anne, when twilight drops her curtain down and pins it with a star, remember that you have a friend, though she may wander far." "It's so nice to be appreciated," sighed Anne rapturously to Maria that night. The girls were not the only scholars who appreciated her. When Anne went to her seat after dinner hour, she had been told by Mr. Phillips to sit with the model, Minnie Andrews, she found on her desk a big, luscious strawberry apple. Anne caught it up, all ready to take a bite, when she remembered that the only place in Avonlea where strawberry apples grew was in the old Blythe orchard on the other side of the Lake of Shining Waters. Anne dropped the apple as if it were a red-hot coal and ostentatiously wiped her fingers on her handkerchief. The apple lay untouched on her desk until next morning, when little Timothy Andrews, who swept the school and kindled the fire, annexed it as one of his prerequisites. Charlie Sloane's slate pencil, gorgeously bedizened with striped red and yellow paper, costing 2 cents, where ordinary pencils cost only 1, which he sent up to her after dinner hour, met with a more favorable reception. Anne was graciously pleased to accept it and rewarded the donor with a smile which exalted that infatuated youth straightway into the 7th heaven of delight and caused him to make such fearful errors in his dictation that Mr. Phillips kept him in after school to rewrite it. But as the Caesar's pageant shorn of Brutus' bust did but of Rome's best son remind her more, so the marked absence of any tribute or recognition from Diana Barry, who was sitting with Gertie Pye, embittered Anne's little triumph. "Diana might just have smiled at me once, I think," she mourned to Maria that night. But the next morning a note most fearfully and wonderfully twisted and folded into a small parcel were passed across to Anne. "Dear Anne," ran the former, "Mother says I'm not to play with you or talk to you even in school. It isn't my fault, and don't be cross at me because I love you just as much as ever. I miss you awfully to tell all my secrets to, and I don't like Gertie Pye one bit. I made you one of the new bookmarkers out of red tissue paper. They are awfully fashionable now, and only 3 girls in school know how to make them. When you look at it, remember, your true friend, Diana Barry." Anne read the note, kissed the bookmark, and dispatched a prompt reply back to the other side of the school.
My own darling Diana, of course I am not cross at you because you have to obey your mother. Our spirits can commune. I shall keep your lovely present forever. Minnie Andrews is a very nice little girl, although she has no imagination, but after having been Diana's bosom friend, I cannot be Minnie's. Please excuse mistakes because my spelling isn't very good yet, although much improved. And yours until death do us part, Anne or Cordelia, Shirley. P.S. I shall sleep with your letter under my pillow tonight. A or C.S.
I had forgotten that Anne asked people to call her Cordelia.
I forgot
my
that
goodness.
too. Why was that a thing? You remember?
Cordelia felt like such a more romantic name, whereas Anne was so simple and plain.
Gotcha.
Yep, it's right up there with her being very insistent that Anne be spelled with an E. I'm gonna make you fall asleep, Klaus. Well, I do hope you get some rest if that's the case. Either way, it's good to have you here with us. How are things progressing on your end?
This is where I'm at currently. I was doing some blocking when it comes to the colors, but then I realized that a lot of the detail when it comes to the eyes was lost. So I was trying to go back and redo the glasses and the eye shape.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
Which while I am taking a break, do you have any preferences on certain colors in any of the remaining spots, like the sash, the down, the top of your shirt, your belt, your boots, and your book?
Well, I certainly would have expected the down to be a series of brown colors. I believe we
Yes,
had
thank
talked
you for
about
reminding
lifting
me,
the color
actually.
scheme from the burrowing owls coloration. So, it kind of matching in that same vein, some of those shades of brown in both the darker and lighter for the belts might work fairly well. I would have to see what it actually looks like, but that is what I'd propose for you.
Yeah. I actually already have an idea.
Okay. Well, I'll look forward to seeing what you come up with then.
Right. Well, I'm actually doing it right now.
Okay.
Well, because
well,
all I'm doing right now is just the flat colors. I'm not adding any like detailing or texturing right now.
sure.
So I'm just getting I'm just getting the blocking down for this effectively. I'm not planning to do big detail quite yet.
Perfectly understandable. But yeah, no worries. Alright. So, Maria pessimistically expected more trouble since Anne had again begun to go to school, but none developed. Perhaps Anne caught something of the model spirit from Minnie Andrews. At least she got on very well with Mr. Phillips thenceforth. She flung herself into her studies, heart and soul, determined not to be outdone in any class by Gilbert Blythe. The rivalry between them was soon apparent. It was entirely good-natured on Gilbert's side, but it is much to be feared that the same thing cannot be said of Anne, who had certainly an unpraiseworthy tenacity for holding grudges. She was as intense in her hatreds as in her loves. She would not stoop to admit that she meant to rival Gilbert in schoolwork, because that would have been to acknowledge his existence, which Anne persistently ignored. But the rivalry was there, and honors fluctuated between them. Now Gilbert was head of the spelling class, now Anne, with a toss of her long red braids, spelled him down. One morning, Gilbert had all his sums done correctly and had his name written on the blackboard on the roll of honor. The next morning, Anne, having wrestled wildly with decimals the entire evening before, would be first. One awful day, they were ties, and their names were written up together. It was almost as bad as a take notice, and Anne's mortification was as evident as Gilbert's satisfaction. When the Written examinations at the end of each month were held. The suspense was terrible. The first month, Gilbert came out 3 marks ahead. The second, Anne beat him by 5. But her triumph was marred by the fact that Gilbert congratulated her heartily. Before the whole school! It would have been ever so much sweeter to her if he had felt the sting of his defeat. Hello, Toby. Welcome in. I hope you're getting a nice little... Hope you're having a good time there. That's a very cute emote. Mr. Phillips might not be a very good teacher, but a pupil so inflexibly determined on learning as Anne was could hardly escape making progress under any kind of teacher. By the end of the term, Anne and Gilbert were both promoted into 5th class and allowed to begin studying the elements of the branches, by which Latin, geometry, French, and algebra were meant. In geometry, Anne met her Waterloo. "It's perfectly awful stuff, Maria," she groaned. "I'm sure I'll never be able to make head or tail of it. There is no scope for imagination in it at all. Mr. Phillips says I'm the worst dunce he ever saw at it, and some of the others are so smart at it. It is extremely mortifying, Maria. Even Diana gets along better than I do, but I don't mind being beaten by Diana, even although we meet as strangers now, I still love her with an inexhaustible love. It makes me very sad at times to think about her. But really, Maria, one can't stay sad very long in such an interesting world, can one?" Sleep well, Klaus. Hi before you go to sleep, Toby. Alright, get some good sleep. And thank you once again for joining us. Road, how sure are you on that eye shape?
Not 100%, honestly.
Okay. I do normally encourage the corners to be a little bit higher on the outside. But, I will, of course, defer to your judgment on this.
Got it.
Yeah. Alright. And so we come to the end of yet another chapter. Chapter 18. Anne to the rescue. All things great are wound up with all things little. At first glance, it might not seem that the decision of a certain Canadian premier to include Prince Edward Island in a political tour could have much or anything to do with the fortunes of little Anne Shirley at Green Gables. But it had. It was in January the premier came to address his loyal supporters and such of his non-supporters as chose to be present at the monster mass meeting held in Charlottetown.
It was a monster mash.
A monster mass. Most of the Avonlea people were on the premier's side of politics, hence, on the night of the meeting, nearly all of the men and a goodly proportion of the women had gone to town, 30 miles away. Mrs. Rachel Lynde had gone too. Mrs. Rachel Lynde was a red-hot politician and couldn't have believed that the political rally could be carried through without her, although she was on the opposite side of politics. So she went to town and took her husband, Thomas would be useful in looking after the horse, and Maria Cuthbert with her. Maria had a sneaking interest in politics herself, and as she thought it might be her only chance to see a real live premiere, she promptly took it, leaving Anne and Matthew to keep house until her return. The following day. A monster mash, indeed. It was a graveyard smash. Hence, while Maria and Mrs. Rachel were enjoying themselves hugely at the mass meeting, Anne and Matthew had the cheerful kitchen at Green Gables all to themselves. A bright fire was glowing in the old-fashioned Waterloo stove, and blue-white frost crystals were shining on the window panes. Hydrate, you got it. Hydration complete. Thank you for that, Klaus. Matthew nodded over a farmer's advocate on the sofa, and Anne at the table studied her lessons with grim determination, despite
Thank you so
sundry
much for the
wistful
follow,
glances
Close.
at the
Very much
top shelf,
appreciated.
where lay a new book that Jane Andrews had lent her that day. Jane had assured her that it was warranted to produce any number of thrills or words to that effect, and Anne's fingers tingled to reach out for it, but that would mean Gilbert Blythe's triumph on the morrow. Anne turned her back on the clock shelf and tried to imagine it wasn't there.
Matthew, did you ever study geometry when you went to school?
Well, now, no, I didn't, said Matthew, coming out of his doze with a start.
Oh, if only you had, because then you'd be able to sympathize with me. You can't sympathize properly if you've never studied it. It is casting a cloud over my whole life. I'm such a dunce at it, Matthew.
Well, now, I don't know, said Matthew soothingly. I guess you're all right at anything. Mr. Phillips told me last week in Blair's store at Carmody that you was the smartest scholar in the school and was making rapid progress. Rapid progress was his very words. There's them as runs down Teddy Phillips and says he ain't much of a teacher, but I guess he's all right. Matthew would have thought anyone who praised Anne was all right.
I'm sure I'd get on better with geometry if only he wouldn't change the letters. I learned the proposition of off by heart, and then he draws it on the blackboard and puts different letters from what are in the book, and I get all mixed up. I don't mean a teacher should take such a mean advantage, do you? We're studying agriculture now, and I found out at last what makes roads red. It's a great comfort. I wonder how Maria and Mrs. Linda are enjoying themselves. Mrs. Linda says Canada is going to the dogs by the way things are being run at Ottawa, and that's an awful warning to the electors. She says if women are allowed to vote, we would soon be a blessed change. Oh, what way do you vote, Matthew?
Conservative, said Matthew promptly. To vote conservative was a part of Matthew's religion.
Then I'm conservative too, said Anne decidedly. I'm glad because some of the boys in school are grits. I guess Mr. Phillips is a grit too, because Prissy Andrews' father is one, and Ruby Gillis says that when a man is courting, he always has to agree with the girl's mother in religion and her father in politics. Is that true, Matthew?
Well, now, I don't know, said Matthew.
Did you ever go courting, Matthew?
Well, now, no, I don't know as I ever did, said Matthew, who had certainly never thought of such a thing in his whole existence. Anne reflected with her chin in her hands. It must be rather interesting, don't you think, Matthew? Ruby Gillis says that when she grows up, she's going to have ever so many bows on the string and have them all crazy about her. But I think it would be too exciting. I'd rather have just one in his right mind. But Ruby Gillis knows a great deal about such matters because she has so many big sisters, and Mrs. Linda says that Gillis girls have gone off like hotcakes. Mr. Phillips goes up to see Prissy Andrews nearly every evening. He says it to her to help her with her lessons. But Miranda Sloane is studying for Queen's too, and I should think she needed help a lot more than Prissy because she's ever so much stupider. But he never goes to help her in the meetings. He never goes to help her in the evenings at all. There are a great many things in this world that I can't understand very well, Matthew. Excuse you, Klaus. I am quite competent when it comes to mathematics. Thank you very much.
Me, not so much.
Well, now, I don't know as I comprehend them all myself, acknowledged Matthew.
Well, I suppose I must finish up my lessons. I won't allow myself to open that new book Jane lent me until I'm through. It's a terrible temptation, Matthew. Even when I turn my back on it, I see it there just as plain. Jane said she cried herself sick over it. I love a book that makes me cry, but I think I'll carry that book into the sitting room and lock it in the jam closet and give you the key, and you must not give it to me, Matthew, until my lessons are done, not even if I implore you on my bended knees. It's all very well to say to resist temptation, but it's ever so much easier to resist if you can't get the key. And then shall I run down the cellar and get some russets, Matthew? Wouldn't you like some russets?
Well, now, I don't know, but what I would. said Matthew, who never ate russets but knew Anne's weakness for them. Just as Anne emerged triumphantly from the cellar with her plate full of russets, came the sound of flying footsteps on the icy boardwalk outside. The next moment, the kitchen door was flung open, and in rushed Diana Barry, white-faced and breathless, with a shawl wrapped hastily around her head. Anne promptly let go of her candle and plate in her surprise, and plate, candle, and apples crashed together down the cellar ladder and were found at the bottom embedded in melted grease the next day by Maria, who gathered them up and thanked mercy the house hadn't been set on fire.
This house is on fire. Sorry, not sorry.
No, I understand. You're burning for me.
Whatever. Whatever is the matter, Diana? Cried Anne. Has your mother relented at last? Oh, Anne, do come quick, implored Diana nervously. Minnie May is awful sick. She's got croup, young Mary Jo says, and father and mother are away to town, and there's nobody to go for the doctor. Minnie May is awful bad, and young Mary Jo doesn't know what to do, and oh, Anne, I'm so scared.
And Kathy, thank you for the boops. I do appreciate them. Matthew, without a word, reached out for a cap and coat, slipped past Diana, and away into the darkness of the yard.
He's gone to harness the sorrel mare to go to Carmody for the doctor, said Anne, who was hurrying on a hood and jacket. I know it as well as if he'd said so. Matthew and I are such kindred spirits. I can read his thoughts without words at all. I don't believe he'll find the doctor at Carmody, sobbed Diana. I know that Dr. Blair went to town, and I guessed Dr. Spencer would go too. Young Mary Jo never saw anybody with croup, and Mrs. Linda is away. Oh, Anne. Don't cry, Di, said Anne cheerfully. I know exactly what to do for croup. You forget that Mrs. Hammond had twins 3 times. When you look after 3 pairs of twins, you naturally get a lot of experience. They all had croup regularly. Just wait until I get the Ipecac bottle. You mayn't have any at your house. Come on now.
Oh, Kefri is giving you a compliment, Road, that the character design looks awesome.
Yeah, I just saw that and I was going to type a reply because I didn't want to interrupt your flow. But thank you. Speaking of Selene, how are you liking these colors? Also, what do you think of the idea of having the embroidery on the bottom of the trousers colored? And if so, do you want it the same color as the embroidery on the apron or a different color?
That is an interesting question. What would you propose in this context?
Me, personally, I do want a lighter color if we want to go for embroidery, but I don't think the same yellow as on the apron would work. Just because yellow is a complementary color to blue. And so
Sure.
they contrast and they complement at the same time. And especially given that we have the yellow on the green, yellow, green, and blue are all analogous colors and they work. But at the same time, having all of these analogous colors in the same spot when we're trying to have a more realistic color palette may have too much saturation and things like that. So I want to mess with this a bit.
Sure. How about the blue from the capelet? How would that look as the embroidery on the dark blue?
Let's see. That, I think, looks really good. And it weirdly enough gives, the bottom of the trousers kind of an icy look to them.
It does, which I don't dislike. I think that might actually be the direction to go with it then.
Okay. Now, here's a question, though. Do you want to keep the embroidery on the apron yellow like this, or do you want me to lean it more greenish, have it connect more with the green, but parallel how the trousers are? Because like the trousers have like a really dark, desaturated base with a lighter, much more desaturated embroidery. Do you want me to do something like that for the apron, or keep it as is?
Let's take a look at what the lighter embroidery would do on the apron.
Yeah,
or the tunic
Klaus,
in this case.
I talk really fast because I am ADHD and currently I'm medicated.
Oh, I'm sorry, Road.
But I mean, I hate to word it like this, but and I know this isn't smart, but the medication that I have had, trazodone, to help with my anxiety and ADHD, has done nothing to help with my PTSD lately, and my PTSD has been worse than my ADHD. And the symptoms that my trazodone claims to try and help when it comes to my anxiety, it really doesn't do anything when it comes to my PTSD, and I've just nothing's really been helping. So
Oh, that's rough.
that and the trazodone just it's also messed with my emotional regulation, I think, and I'm gonna have to talk with my primary care provider when I can to get things figured out.
Well, I do hope your PCP manages to help you there.
Fingers crossed.
It's a
On
very rough situation.
On a lighter note, how is this color for you for the embroidery?
So you're looking specific. Did you change the color?
Yes, I did. There we go. Back, forward, back, forward. It's barely a difference because yellow and green are very close.
No. That,
you know what? Okay. Let's shift it
Try
more.
making it
There we
purple
go.
here real quick, just to make sure that we're contrasting the right colors. Hopefully my eye will catch it better if I can,
Well, Here, I just switched it to its original color. Let me know when you're looking.
My problem is I'm having trouble differentiating, so if you, like I said, try and make it fairly extreme here. Oh, I think I see where you're going with it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, wow,
There we go.
those look so similar.
There's the original color. And then boom boom.
And there's with the green. I think I do prefer the yellow over the green, just...
No, I agree, looking at it, because the green was cute for the embroidery, but it does kind of... Like, the yellow helps it pop. I think we need to keep that pop.
Yeah, and like the dark blue and light blue provide a pretty solid contrast. Dark green and light green less so for some reason, and I don't know why my eyes tend to register it that way.
No, I get that.
But yeah, no, I think leaving the yellow there, it just adds a little bit of a splash of color in a place where we do have kind of this solid mass of green.
It's contrast, but it's not like crazy contrast.
Yeah. Whereas it definitely looks nicer with the light blue on the dark blue when it comes to the trousers there. So yeah, I think between those, that's definitely the way to go. And Kefri would like to talk fast. I mean,
hyper talk
understandable,
fast.
Kefri. It is very fun. There are so many ways in which I identify strongly with Anne Shirley on this. She's got very similar energy to me when I'm having a high spirits day.
So... Oh, that is such a mood.
It is. And Anne Shirley is several moods, usually in quick succession.
Yeah. On another note, before you dive into the next chapter, how are the colors for the belt, the book, and the boots? Do you want them all the same color still, or do you want these messed with?
the belt, the book, and what was the other? Oh, the boots. Yeah, I think the belts and the boots are fine.
Okay.
The book, I would almost try and make a little more like red. I'm curious as to whether red or blue would look better. Blue might give it kind of a...
I want to lean on red just because to give your color palette a bit
little more warmth.
Yeah. Because I mean, like,
Sure.
we could go blue if we want to ground this a bit more, red if we want to do more rainbow. If you want more color, go a little more wild, we can do the red. If we want to keep it more grounded, we can go blue. What sounds good for you?
I would probably go for blue, but again with yellow for the contrast on the binding.
Yeah. Easy peasy.
So, yeah, that's I just get the feeling that like a nice gold type leaf on a blue would, because I'm also trying to leave at least one color that I can how do I explain this? If I need to chroma key something out, having red as something that we avoid, at least in terms of high intensity, makes it so that it's easier for me to isolate that.
Yeah.
And like in terms of warm colors, we do have some browns lying around, and the yellows.
Some of the browns
are,
that I
present.
have are a little more neutral. I'm not going like hard. I don't want to go on too many warm colors, namely because your palette is already pretty neutral to cold.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's the way I like it. So
that's the way. I like it.
I like it. Yeah, no. I think I do like the way that that's shaping up though with the let's see that kind of zoomed out though.
Let me
just to make sure the balance overall is solid. Yeah,
although the colors are giving salty for those that were raised Protestant.
Salty?
He's a Protestant Christian mascot that was made in the 90s and early 2000s. Salty, spelled with a P at the beginning to reference the Book of Psalms.
Oh dear. Well, that's good to be aware of, I suppose. Hello, Sheena. Welcome in. Let's get you shouted out. So for those not already familiar with Shinanashi, she is a Scottish VTuber. She has historically used a fox, although I believe she is also adding a squirrel avatar to her lineup. She primarily streams video games. I've seen a fair amount of Final Fantasy and God of War type things. She is also an open and proud pagan, so if you're in the 18 plus end of the spectrum, she is an absolutely incomparable time in terms of getting to learn and enjoy somebody who has a very fiery, very enthusiastic personality. Sheena, welcome in. Thank you so much for joining us here.
Sheena's also an absolute sweetheart, absolutely patient with me when it comes to working on the rigging for her special new character that you mentioned, Selene. So yes, please be sure to give Sheena some love. Yes, she is very much on an 18 plus crowd because she is crass, she is fiery, she is feisty, and we love her for it.
Absolutely. Wouldn't change her for the world. But yeah, it's good to see you there, Sheena. I hope you're enjoying our time here as I try to get my outfit updated and as we read further through Anne of Green Gables. Ro, do you have the direction that you need for now, or do you need me to...
I actually got a mock-up on the color for the book. Yay or nay?
What happens if we use the same dark blue from the trousers? Does that start to bleed together, or does that just kind of
That could work. I mean, the color there was already pretty close to them.
Yeah. It does sort of make it blend in. So
yeah,
it looks
I feel like it blends in
it's...
too much.
Okay, a little too consistent.
Yeah.
All right. And
I'm thinking maybe some sort of like a darker brown, leathery-ish kind of color, maybe.
Yeah,
something that can still lean on the cooler side, but not overtly blue.
Sure. Yeah. Let's take a look at it with the brown from the belts here. And
well, actually, a thing that I was going to experiment with.
That does look really nice. Like it's consistent, but it also still pops a little bit.
Well, if we
desaturate it.
Desaturate it. Oh, but that turns it into more of a gray. Okay, I kind of like the brown more there for the book.
Yeah, what happens if you darken the book a little bit? Like, instead of desaturating it, reduce the luminosity a little?
Doing that?
Hello, Carl. Welcome in. I hope you're doing well. I am just trying to pin down a little bit. You know what? Let's see that same slightly darker brown on the belts and the boot. Just as a point of contrast.
Okay.
I love the music that we've got going on with this. It's like borderline mischievous.
I mean, the music on your side, the music on my side is just chill lo-fi. And I haven't even, this whole time, I've just been chilling with listening to you read. I haven't done a single timer.
Oh no! I have successfully distracted you. Perfect. I really like that darker brown just across the board.
Yeah, I think
agree. It's like it the previous ones were almost feeling a little too travel worn and desaturated. Like there was just a coating of dust over everything.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Which not
if you want me
invalid.
to do like a war-torn version of the design, that's something that we can do later.
There we go.
Get us an owl mom fresh from the battlefield, like a mother cat to her children with her fresh kill coming in, feed children, and then plop, feast.
Some arrows sticking out and the hide and blood splatters all over the place. Oh my goodness, Road. What terrible things you must think me of doing.
You play Valheim! Hello?
Look, trolls deserve to be slaughtered. They're themed for our benefit, okay? They're also an absolute environmental disaster.
After I just watched K-pop Demon Hunters last night. Actually, funny story with that. You remember Magnus. The Nuke Terrors literally called me at 1 a.m. completely unprovoked. Just call me, paraphrasing because of their loudmouth, but they pinged me at 1 in the morning. Go get in, loser. We're watching K-pop Demon Hunters. I'm like, what in the world? And then they take a half hour after they were the ones that called me first to call again so that they can get in chat and start the daggum movie. It was funny though, and they got salty with me when I predicted the dynamic between the main protagonist and main antagonist.
Nice. Alright, so I am going to get back to the story here, but if you need more direction, feel free to shout out.
Yeah.
So, the two little girls hastened out, hand in hand, and hurried through Lover's Lane and across the crusted fields beyond, for the snow was too deep to go by the shorter woodway. Anne, although sincerely sorry for Minnie May, was far from being insensible to the romance of the situation and to the sweetness of once more sharing that romance with a kindred spirits. The night was clear and frosty, all ebony of shadows and silver of snowy slope. big stars were shining over the silent fields. Here and there, the dark-pointed firs stood up with snow powdering their branches and the wind whistling through them. Anne thought it was truly delightful to go skimming through all this mystery and loveliness with your bosom friend who had been so long estranged. Minnie May, aged 3, was really very sick. She lay on the kitchen sofa, feverish and restless, while her hoarse breathing could be heard all over the house. Young Mary Jo, a buxom, broad-faced French girl from the Creek, whom Mrs. Barry had engaged to stay with the children during her absence, was helpless and bewildered, quite incapable of thinking what to do, or doing it if she thought of it. Anne went to work with skill and promptness.
Minnie May has croup all right. She's pretty bad, but I've seen them worse. First, we must have lots of hot water. I declare, Diana, there isn't more than a cupful in the kettle. There, I've filled it up, and Mary Jo, you put some wood in the stove. I don't want you to hurt your feelings, but it seems to me you might have thought this before you'd any imagination. Now, I'll undress Minnie May and put her to bed, and you try to find some soft flannel cloths, Diana. I'm going to give her a dose of ipecac first of all.
Minnie May did not take kindly to the ipecac, but Anne had not brought up 3 pairs of twins for nothing. Down the ipecac went, not only once, but many times during the long, anxious night when the 2 girls worked patiently over the suffering Minnie May and young Mary Jo, honestly anxious to do all she could, kept on a roaring fire and heated more water than would have been needed for a hospital of croupy babies. It was 3 o'clock when Matthew came with the doctor, for he had been obliged to go all the way to Spencerville for one. But the pressing need for assistance was past. Minnie May was much better and was sleeping soundly.
I was awfully near giving up in despair, explained Anne. She got worse and worse until she was sicker than ever the Hammond twins were, even the last pair. I actually thought she was going to choke to death. I gave her every drop of ipecac in that bottle, and when the last dose went down, I said to myself not to Diana or Mary Jo, because I didn't want to worry them any more than they were worried. But I had to say it to myself just to relieve my feelings. This is the last lingering hope, and I fear 'tis a vain one. But in about 3 minutes, she coughed up the phlegm and began to get better right away. You must just imagine my relief, Doctor, because I can't express it in words. You know there are some things that cannot be expressed in words.
Yes, I know, nodded the doctor. He looked at Anne as if he were thinking some things about her that couldn't be expressed in words. Later on, however, he expressed them to Mr. and Mrs. Barry. That little red-headed girl they have over at the Cuthberts is as smart as they make 'em. I tell you, she saved that baby's life, or it would have been too late by the time I got here. She seems to have a skill and presence of mind perfectly wonderful in a child of her age. I never saw anything like in the eyes of her when she was explaining the case out to me. Anne had gone home in the wonderful white frosted winter morning, heavy-eyed from loss of sleep, but still talking unweariedly to Matthew as they crossed the long white field and walked under the glittering fairy arch of the Lovers' Lane maples.
Oh, Matthew, isn't it a wonderful morning? The world looks like something God had just imagined for his own pleasure, doesn't it? Those trees look as if I could blow them away with a breath. Poof, I'm so glad I live in a world where there are white frosts, aren't you? And I'm so glad Mrs. Hammond had 3 pairs of twins after all. If she hadn't, I mightn't have known what to do for Minnie May. I'm real sorry I was ever cross with Mrs. Hammond for having twins, but oh, Matthew, I'm so sleepy I can't go to school. I just know I couldn't keep my eyes open and it would be so stupid. But I'd hate to stay home for guilt. Some of the others will get ahead of the class. It's so hard to get up again, although of course it's harder it is the more satisfaction you have when you do get up, haven't you?
Well now, I guess you'll manage all right, said Matthew, looking at Anne's white little face and the dark shadows under her eyes. You just go right to bed and have a good sleep. Do the chores. Anne accordingly went to bed and slept so long and soundly that it was well on in the white and rosy winter afternoon when she awoke and descended to the kitchen where Maria, who had arrived home in the meantime, was sitting knitting.
Ooh, did you see the premiere? exclaimed Anne at once. What did he look like, Maria? Well, he never got to be premier on account of his looks, said Maria. Such a nose as that man had, but he can speak. I was proud of being a conservative. Rachel Lynde, of course, being a liberal, had no use for him. Your dinner is in the oven, Anne. You can get yourself some blue plum preserve out of the pantry. I guess you're hungry. Matthew has been telling me all about last night. I must say it was fortunate you knew what to do. I wouldn't have had any idea myself, for I never saw a case of croup. There now, never mind talking till you've had your dinner. I can tell by the look of you that you're just full up with speeches, but they'll keep. Maria had something to tell Anne, but she did not tell it just then, for she knew if she did, Anne's consequent excitement would lift her clear out of the region of such material matters as appetite or dinner. Not until Anne had finished her saucer of blue plums did Maria say, Mrs. Barry was here this afternoon, Anne. She wanted to see you, but it wouldn't wake you up. She says you saved Minnie May's life, and she is very sorry she acted as she did in the affair of currant wine. She says she knows now that you didn't mean to set Diana drunk, and she hopes you'll forgive her and be good friends with Diana again. You're to go over this evening if you like, for Diana can't stir out of the door on account of a bad cold she caught last night. Now, Anne Shirley, for pity's sake, don't fly clean up in the air. The warning seemed not unnecessary, so uplifted and aerial was Anne's expression and attitude as she sprang to her feet, her face irradiated with the flame of her spirits. Oh, Maria, can I go right now? Without washing my dishes? I'll wash them when I come back, but I cannot tie myself down to anything so unromantic as dishwashing at this thrilling moment. Yes, run along, said Maria, indulgently. Anne Shirley, are you crazy? Come back this instant and put something on you. I might as well call to the wind. She's gone without a cap or wrap. Look at her tearing through the orchard with her streaming hair. It'll be a mercy if she doesn't catch her death of cold. Oh, Carl caught up on the Anne anime and remembers this episode? Heck yeah. Anne came dancing home in the purple winter twilight across the snowy places. Afar in the southwest was the great shimmering, pearl-like sparkle of an evening star in a sky that was pale golden and ethereal rose over gleaming white spaces and dark glens of spruce. The tinkles of sleigh bells among the snowy hills came like elfin chimes through the frosty air, but their music was not sweeter than the song in Anne's heart and on her lips. You see before you a perfectly happy person, Maria, she announced. I'm perfectly happy, yes, in spite of my red hair. Just at present, I have a soul above red hair. Just at present, I have a soul above red hair. Mrs. Barry kissed me and cried and said she was so sorry she could never repay me. I felt fearfully embarrassed, Maria, but I said as politely as I could, I have no hard feelings for you, Mrs. Barry. I assure you once for all that I did not mean to intoxicate Diana, and henceforth I shall cover the past with the mantle of oblivion. That was a pretty dignified way of speaking, wasn't it, Maria? I felt that I was heaping coals of fire on Mrs. Barry's head, and Diana and I had a lovely afternoon. Diana showed me the new fancy crochet stitch her aunt over at Carmody taught her. Not a soul in Avonlea knows it but us, and we pledged a solemn vow never to reveal it to anyone else. Diana gave me a beautiful card with a wreath of roses on it and a verse of poetry. If you love me as I love you, nothing but death can part us two. And it is true, Maria. We're going to ask Mr. Phillips to let us sit together in school again, and Gertie Pye can go with Minnie Andrews. I had an elegant tea. Mrs. Barry had the very best china set out. Maria, just as if it was real company. I can't tell you what a thrill it gave me. Nobody ever used their very best china on my account before. And we had a fruit cake and pound cake and donuts and 2 kinds of preserves, Maria. And Mrs. Barry asked me if I took tea and said, Pa, why don't you pass the biscuits to Anne? It must be lovely to be grown up, Maria, when just being treated as if you were is so nice. I don't know about that, said Maria with a brief sigh. Well, anyway, when I am grown up, I'm always going to talk to little girls as if they were too, and I'll never laugh when they use big words. I know from sorrowful experience how that hurts one's feelings. After tea, Diana and I made taffy. The taffy wasn't very good, I suppose, because neither Diana nor I had ever made any before. Diana let me stir it while she buttered in plates, and I forgot to let it burn, and when we set it out on the platform to cool, the cat walked over one plate and it had to be thrown away. But the making of it was splendid fun. Then when I came home to Mrs. Barry asked me to come over as soon as I could, and Diana stood in the window and threw kisses to me all the way down to Lover's Lane. I assure you, Maria, that I feel like praying tonight, and I'm going to think out a special brand new prayer in honor of the occasion.
I love it when Anne just gets to cut loose like this.
Right? It's adorable. Also, I just remembered there's an extra sash above the apron that is in between the apron and belts. So what color?
An extra sash?
In yeah, hold on, let me I want to get like the color down, but my brain is also just not allowing me to talk when I am also trying to draw color.
Sure, and I wouldn't want to disturb your focus, after all. Oh, I think I see where you're going with it. That it's intended to be not only belted, but also to have a sash underneath in order to keep things, I'm curious where you're going with it.
Yeah, so this section, what color do you want it? I'm not thinking yellow. I want something that's a different color to kind of work with all this. My instinct says to go for a darker green. Like probably a teal or something here. Something that's not super extreme, but at the same time something that will meld with the color palette that we already have.
What if we took the shadow color from the hair and darkened that a little bit? Would that give us something that's in the same general palette, but would also give us that contrast you're looking for? Or
Not cool.
Not necessarily. Little hard to say.
Right. I do kind of like this for the color, but I am tempted to want to have it a little more desaturated.
Well, and maybe I'm just seeing this wrong. The green that you're using here looks more desaturated than what I've come to expect from my avatar, but
Well, because if I have it saturated like that, you see how much that contrasts, especially with the other colors.
Yeah, it's just kind of a consistent thing over the new design, is that I'm noticing it is a lot more desaturated than what my previous one was. And maybe I'm just seeing that wrong. It's possible, but I am curious, what happens if you saturate the tunic just a little bit more?
See, if I do the tunic, because there I was working on the apron.
Not the shift, but so when you say apron, that I've been assuming the apron or what you're calling the apron is more of a tunic, but
what I'm calling the apron is this.
Yes. So let's see that a little bit darker, because that looks mysteriously not darker, more saturated. Let's bump the saturation up about. Oh, it still looks quite pale relative to what I expect. I don't know why. What happens if we set that closer to 70? Just to give my eyes a little bit more of an easy time with the transition there. Yeah, something has desaturated the green that you're using there.
Okay.
So we definitely want to bump that up a good bit
Then
higher.
I'll bump up the colors for all of these.
Yeah, I would honestly leave the trousers more or less as they are, but the rest of the image I would really expect to see more saturation in. Well, that and the hair seems. Yeah, the hair seems fairly close, so we're
The
probably
hair
fine
is
there.
ripped from your normal color palette, though.
I would expect so, but I would have expected all of this to be ripped directly from the color palette, and
These are ripped from your actual color palette.
Interesting. I wonder what's causing that then. Because like when I start seeing it more saturated, it looks closer to what I normally use. And I don't know if that's...
I think I know what might be the issue.
Do you have an opacity issue, maybe, or?
It's probably because of a night shift thing that's on my tablet. It's going to mess with the colors. Because I have a night shift on for the sake of my eyes.
Got it. Would that be not carrying over then into the broadcast?
If sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Let me turn off my thing just so that I can figure out how to turn off the night shift.
Sure. But no worries. At the same time, that's a pretty significant thing to make sure that you've
because that is so weird.
Oh, Autumn Blue Siren, thank you for the lurk.
Bluey!
I'm guessing this is... Oh, and Autumn Blue Siren has redeemed... Ara.
Hi, Bluey!
So
That's my
there you
brother. That's what's sad.
Gotcha. Bluey, thank you very much for the redeem. Hope you got it before you vanished into the ether there. My apologies. I should have been paying a little bit closer attention to chat as we were going through here.
Okay.
But, alright, so...
Alright, does that... I think that actually the shift does show on screen.
I'm guessing so, because this looks a bit different than what I remembered leaving behind. So, that explains why you and I had such radically different impressions of the same set of colors. Oh dear.
We're getting it figured out.
Yeah. So, in terms of that area there...
Lean this one a little more on your side, maybe?
Teal and then immediately darken it. I see.
Teal is dark.
I usually think of teal as a fairly light color, but then I'm thinking like the StarCraft.
Yeah,
teal.
I'm thinking turquoise. Turquoise is a brighter color in contrast to teal. At least that's how my brain thinks it.
Fair enough. In terms of the overall coloration, I don't hate it. Though I almost feel like making the entire thing closer to one of those colors might be a little more any rate. But I am curious what it looks like with more of a purple hue instead of a green hue.
More purple. Well, by purple, are we meaning more violet? Are we meaning more mauve, plum, wine?
Like a darker version of the periwinkle that I normally use for my hair.
Ah, okay.
So kind of a bluer purple.
See, a slight issue with trying to go for a nice colored purple is that purple leans very heavily into blue. And with the blues that we already have, like the blue that we have for your trousers is already kind of an indigo, which is very much in between blue and purple. So that limits us on what blues we could be able to use if we want a completely different shade.
totally fair, and given that periwinkle is a fairly blue-purple to begin with, yeah, it would kind of create more of a uniformity rather than an accent color, wouldn't it?
A little bit.
I'm not sure what we should do
I
there.
have an idea.
Okay.
Let's see how trying to mess with the opacity with this color does. Because if this gives us a color that we like underneath, we could use it. Yay or nay? What do you think of that?
Can we see it with it just flat as a contrast point here?
Like, what do you
So,
mean?
like, switching it back to the same green as the rest of the apron.
Gotcha. Well, I kind of like it because from a glance, like seeing a preview of my stream and seeing like how I'm doing things, looking at this basically as like a thumbnail, looking at your design from the corner of my eye currently, I like how this is because I like that divide. It is a pretty big chunk for the divide, like at your waist with all the belts and everything, but it helps to put things in chunks, which to me, I think looks good. What are you feeling? What are your concerns?
I mean, it doesn't necessarily look bad, but I'm also, like, if I look at this both with and without, I'm not really getting, like, a strong positive from the change, if that makes sense. Like, for example, when we switched the embroidery from yellow to blue on the trousers.
Yes.
That looked dramatically better. And this, I don't know, switch it back again, please. Yeah, I'm... At the very least, the color you've got there isn't necessarily processing right to me. Like, it doesn't look wrong in either direction, but I'm not getting that, yes, that looks right, if that makes sense. But let's go back to using a darker green, and we'll see if we can...
Well, let me get this a little more saturated so that we can get that color, actually.
Sure.
See, there's a green.
Yeah, I think that one looks better than what the blue was.
Okay.
Where it's just kind of a darker and slightly more saturated green makes it makes sense there from the way that my eye processes things. Like, you mentioned looking at the thumbnail out of the corner of your eye.
Yeah.
It doesn't distract, but at the same time, it does give that additional dimensionality to things.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I would consider doing here, although let's see what it looks like shaded before we start playing with it more. In terms of the base color. But I can see kind of where you're going with that, and I think, yeah, for that, the darker green would be probably preferable there.
Righto.
So let's roll that direction. See what happens.
Righto.
And we can always change it later if we really need to. But, yeah. So cool. Thank you. I appreciate it. But yeah. So let's see here.
Get back to that chapter.
Oh heck. So we actually are let's see. Yeah, we got to the end of that chapter, and I'm looking at the time and going, oh boy, tomorrow's gonna hurt.
You need to go to bed?
I think it is about time for me, at least, to wrap up.
Okay.
Are you going to continue for a little while here, or what are your plans?
I could go for a little bit if you're thinking of writing to me or writing to someone else, either or. I could probably go until 3 at the latest, and then I could send you a screenshot of like my latest progress and go from there.
Yeah, let's go that direction. So I will go ahead and drop out of the call here and write over to you once I finish with my usual wrap-up stuff. Road, once again, thank you so much for your good work on this.
Absolutely.
I really heckin' appreciate it. If you guys are not already following my co-host for tonight, Road is somebody who not only allowed me to moderate on his channel for quite a while, but also
You're
through
still a
including
mod.
me. Well, yes, I don't have nearly the time to moderate for you as I once did, but he also allowed me to guest star in several roles on his channel that really helped make my confidence and my personal style what they are today. So if you haven't already checked him out, I strongly encourage you to do so. He is also an AUDHD and LGBT educator in many ways. I've seen some of the work that he's done there, and he is a linguist. So there's a lot more to Road to Dusk than what we've been able to demonstrate here tonight with his art, and it really is. I can't overstate how impactful his work has been in making my channel what it is. So if you get a chance to at least spend a little time with him, I strongly encourage you to do it. Glad to catch my stream at last. Carl, thank you so much for catching it. It's always wonderful to have you here. So I'm going to
Absolutely.
drop off the call and we will raid out to him. Rode, is there anything you want to say before we part ways here?
Well, don't forget to love yourself as much as you're singing my praises, because don't forget that, like, yeah, yes, I get it that I have kind of influenced you and a bunch of others to get into streaming and have helped with your confidence, and I'm really humbled and, like, just really, I kind of feel indebted that you're that indebted to me in a sense, but combined with that, I'm just also going like, I'm just silly guy. I do silly things, but thank you.
Well, silly guy, you've had a profound impact. Thank you very much, and I'll see you once we hop over with the raid.
Absolutely. I may get the shading for this a lot faster than I thought. And if we do that, then for craps and giggles, because I'm trying to be respectful of Selene, because I know I curse like a sailor, but if things go well, and I still have energy, I may want to switch to do some 3DS stuff, just because, for those that don't know, during my donathon, like I know I have been very low energy and unprofessional, especially when it comes to my frustration with technology. Chief among them has been my Nintendo 3DS for the past days. For those that do not know, I have been using my 3DS to live stream some fun games, namely funny ones like Tomodachi Life. I am very much looking forward to the Tomodachi Life game on the Nintendo Switch that's coming out, and that is probably going to be one of the few, if not only, games that I'm going to get from Nintendo going forward. But Selene, thank you so much for the raid. Let me give you a proper shout out. Sorry, my brain is also all over the place. I want to yap, I want to talk, I want to spend time with people, but my brain and my mouth cannot keep up with each other unless it is in a certain way to shut me up, and only certain people can do that. And think all that is holy and infernal that think all that's holy and infernal that I am not live with you now, Selene, so that I can make that comment. Alright, how many cycles do I have left? Oh shit. You're giving me 10 minutes, and then I have a 3 more half-hour increments. Oh boy. Heck, I get you with the scan. But I really hope that everyone has been having fun, by the way. And let me actually turn that off. Let me get this moved. There we go. Well, all the same, I'm very proud of your wonderful work. Thank you for taking good care of chat. Well, thank you, Selene. It takes one to know one. Now, as a reminder, I do want to say for one quick bit, we do have donations going on to try and help me with money, because low income, waiting on a job. I had this idea during one of my last streams, and I'll bring it up again. If you remember the punishment wheel spins that we have going on, those will normally go for $10 a spin. For the rest of tonight, until I am done streaming for tonight, I am now allowing Schadenfreude, or punishment wheel spins, at $5 donations. They are now half off. So, if you or anyone that you know would like to throw some money to a low-income disabled individual who money and funds to survive in a quickly crumbling fascist society, go for it. And there are plenty of fun little knickknacks and whatnot for y'all, including an opportunity for y'all to win some free art from me. Sorry, just checking out a whole bunch of stuffs. Really hope everyone's been doing well and having a good time, though. For those that do not know what we do around here, for those that are new around here and don't know what we do around here, the Road to Dusk. Call me Road, Dusk, anything that you would call a friend. I am a dream usher focusing on sleep, dreams, and the imagination to help create an environment where people can learn to be the better versions of themselves. We have quite a change of pace, a bit of a late night little drawing escapade. We have a small break going on currently for working on this lovely design for Selene Heidelman, our resident owl mom, authoress, and just absolute sweetheart. For those that came from Selene, you'll know her. For those that are from my community and may not know her that well, Selene is trying to figure out a good way to like summarize her like elevator pitch style. She is an absolute sweetheart. She always prioritizes education, transparency, and communication, hence why her main focus is books, especially in the public domain. Her main focus is education, transparency, openness, the openness and willingness to not only learn, but to admit when someone is wrong. That's core in Selene's practice when it comes to her streams is a big reason on why I am friends with her. And I wouldn't have it any other way. So basically, I also want to tell you guys, anyone that wants to pull like an AI crypto bro kind of stuff, especially if you're from my or Selene's audiences, you are not our audience. You came to the wrong crowd, and boy howdy, sweetheart, you're going to get it. But based on a few things that Selene had said, yes, I am LGBT. I'm ADHD, which means I am autistic as well as ADHD. And I also have complex PTSD and DID, or dissociative identity disorder, due to the rampant abuse by means of Christian evangelism that prevails in the United States. So, yeah, some wonderful win some, you lose some kind of aspects of living in America. Pros, oh, freedoms, you have the rights, you have all of that. Cons is not really. Our rights are ours. Not to get dark. So. Ay. 10 minutes. Having to fill the void. 10 minutes. 4 minutes. 9, 8, 7, 6. Well, dark happens. Yeah, I just feel bad. Thank you for the lovely compliments. Absolutely. You'll always do. Whether as a friend, whether having a good day, bad day, whatever, everyone deserves to be uplifted. No sense feeling bad for feeling bad. Unfortunately, that happens to me all the time because I am traumatized. The unfortunate reality of living in an immature society and immature culture is that you are not allowed to feel the feelings that they don't like. And so you are never told how to understand, recognize, let alone just feel those feelings. And that's kind of where the root of my dissociation and trauma kind of comes from. And unfortunately, it's kind of hard to... It's one thing to heal yourself and to live your own life. It's another thing to try and heal a whole other fucking country, which shouldn't be my responsibility anyway. Thank you for the full care package. I don't have a whole lot on the snack side at the moment, just because money is tight. So, I will get some water in a bit, though. You know what? I'm gonna have to go AFK, but I am literally right next to the kitchen. I could very also. Sorry. Trying to make sure that my camera actually. Hello. Oh, I think I need to calibrate it again in here. Yep, you're getting wonky. Better accuracy. That works. Alrighty. So we just got a little bit of time. Gotta focus on other stuff, so I'll lurk now. Well, thank you, Carl. Thank you. Carl! Also, ads in 5 minutes. Ads in 5. I really should have gotten water in like the 2 minutes. But my chair is... My brand new chair is too comfy. Which is saying something, because it's like, it's also like really hard. It is stiff. Not the stiff that I want, but sorry, I'm having a moment. I think Vince has been kind of poking ever since having to go solo. So If I had a Live 2D model for this bastard, I would show it. But until then, where are my... Let me switch to a different VC that I'm not... There we go. Because I don't want to, I do not want to worry, Selene. Alright, why? Okay, and now... Not wanting to... Are you? My lips say? Mic off? What do you mean mic off? Microphone. Gee whiz. I swear to all that is holy and infernal. You're fine, I wasn't planning to do anything in there yet tonight. Yeah, but like it's your server, and I totally didn't recently have a point where I finished a VC with a friend and totally didn't just leave myself in the VC. Mic on. Not even muted. But for the entire night, I was stuck in this VC with my polycule, and no one told me. Frankly, they couldn't, because all of my stuff was on Do Not Disturb or like silent because of my alarms. And so the first thing that I see when waking up is like 20, 30 notifications of like, hey, dummy, you're still in VC. Alrighty. Get... Not the X, but we'll use it. Here we go. Notaic, how we doing? Way too bright of a color. Here we go. Very EP, but good. I'm doing good. Are you EP because insomnia? Are you EP because bad brain day? Oh yeah, I remember. Get up. EP because insomnia. Mood. Well, you're in good company. Because one thing that I frequently forget is I am actually also diagnosed. I am a diagnosed insomniac. And I mentioned this medication earlier, but my trazodone, my anti-anxiety, and which would also help with my ADHD, it would also occasionally help with my insomnia. I could actually have a decent sleep schedule using the trazodone, but it really screwed up with my emotional regulation, I feel. Yeah, Notaic, what have you been up to? as a reminder, and just a disclaimer for folks that may be hopping into my stream and don't know what we do around here, we got quite a few options for anyone that wants to interact or lurk. If you want to lurk and just have a fun time, there is the lurk bait game where you can fish for some goodies. If you get 10,000 gold in game, you can either turn those points in to receive a chibi sketch from me, from my system and I, or you can double up for a level up and you can get a full body sketch for 20,000. Or if you ever want to go fancier, double it and pass it, go 40k, and I'll give you something special. I'm a little annoyed with the head and the face, namely just because I know that I knew that I wasn't going to be able to get it perfect, but I'm also not quite used to trying to draw ref sheets quite yet. I really want to try and get some time and energy. I wish I had the energy to just focus on practicing my anatomy, especially when it comes to keeping everything symmetrical and like as they are, depending on like profile, whether like front view, 3/4 profile view, 1/4, things like that. Playing some Cobblemon, made a mod pack with an Uma Musume mod on Minecraft. Ooh. Neat. I was playing Uma Musume a little bit. I think it's cute. I would love to try and give it a second chance at some point. Mainly because when I played it on stream, I was kind of rushing through the dialogue because I couldn't really focus on the game or the story when my chat is going off. Well, then again, I also had company in my VC, so that just made it even more difficult for me to focus. And especially when it comes to games, I love to play games for story. I love to play games for story, and especially for the sake of giving commentary on the story. Because if a game's going to have a story, then that to me, means that there is all the more opportunity to do a little yes and. Go a little, ooh, okay, you got this in your story, so what does that mean? What does it mean about this? That's something that I really like to do. Because to me, that reads like I am engaging in the story. I'm engaging in the story bit. And I'm incorporating that into my commentary. You know? The Uma Musume mod. Ooh, oh, being the gacha. Ah, but you can equip the souls, become the Uma, and give you different abilities when doing so. Neat. Oh, on the subject of Cobblemon, I've been meaning to want to play more Minecraft. I've been trying to wait until I get my computer fixed up, just because I have a power supply unit and a graphics card that I really, really want to get put in. And because these will let me, I don't know, play things like VR chat again. I could be a little more active and lively, and I know Vince also wants to do that. Vince has been really wanting to go at it. Because yeah, when we can get our power supply and the graphics card switched in here, it's gonna be so. Sorry, I think also with being on hiatus for so long and coming back, with everything that's been going on from news to personal life and whatnot, I probably don't even need to say this, but I am just beyond rusty, and so my brain's just like, ooh, what do now? How do? How human? How stream? How person? How life? How adult? Happy to see y'all back. Thank you, Notaic. It's gonna be fun streaming more often again. Namely because I know that I would love to get back into certain games. Namely, I have been scrambling through my shit to find Parasite Eve. I want to finish Parasite Eve. We are literally at the final boss. I have left y'all hanging so much. Y'all have been blue-balled to hell and back. So what's everyone been up to? I know that for some of us it's rather late. Also, don't forget that y'all can do the TTS. I did change the TTS for Tierly. For those that heard earlier, just because the audio and how quickly Mix It Up can be able to process the request, it's a lot easier with using just the Windows default TTS voices rather than anything crazy or substantial. Also, I looked and researched more into responsive voice, which is what I was using that had the Finnish voice bank or that we were using for Theory. With what I found when it comes to responsive voice, the more that I kept trying to research on them, nothing would ever say that they were overtly or explicitly not generative. And just for simplicity's sake, I would rather not mess with generative stuff. And so I switched the voice for Tirli. As much as I would love for Tirli to have the Finnish accent, because that's a very close to the Remel accent. I don't want linguistic accuracy to come at the expense of the environment and my moral. Because of the blue ball statement, I realized it's been a bit since I adventured to Nobody Wants to Die. I like that more anyway. Here we go. Think what else up on when this I mean this is kind of all that I can really do, mainly because I really didn't need to do much when it comes to shape. Okay, that can work. Have the top of tunic underneath, just the same color as actual shirt. leaving the apron. Yeah, then the trousers, then boom. Yeah, because this does this harkens a little bit. I tried to do research, guys. I did research on trying to make sure that this outfit was based on historically accurate costume. Not costume, but you get what I mean. So this is a lot more of a costume. But this is based on actual Viking era attire. So, like, this is a good design. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this will look on like an actual model or full design. Sorry, just checking on things. And let me see who is live at the moment. Sorry, trying to see everyone who is available. If there's anyone that y'all want us to raid out to, you can always request via the guide, the raid point. Otherwise, ooh. Oh, no. Sorry, I saw someone saying like, oh, I'm doing a subathon themed for Kingdom Hearts. I hop in. They're currently playing League. Dang. Who do we have available? Let me check to see if anyone's requested. Thank you for the stretchies. You know what? We started with some public domain ASMR reading. Now we're going to end with some public domain ASMR reading. Let's head over to an interesting friend. Well, friend is a stretch. I don't know them that well, but Mukia is currently on day 10 of a birthday whole escapade, and they're reading Bram Stoker's Dracula. How about we go listen to the most beloved story of the Prince... Well, I say the Prince of Darkness. No, that's Satan. I mean, Dracula's also been given that term. But let's get things going. There is the raid message for passersby. Here is the version for followers. And here is the version for subscribers. Let me be sure that I am spelling their name correctly. And let me double check on Mukia's pronouns actually as well. Oh, she, they. Good to know. Good to know. Glad I know that. That's actually very, very helpful. All right, so let's go give Mukia a nice hello. And now do know that while this is the end of stream, this is not the end of our time together, as the road to dusk will always be open for another adventure. Thank you all so much for sticking around. Please have a wonderful rest of your morning, afternoon, evening. Whatever time it is in your time zone, as we say. Bye-bye.